So I am super excited today to have with me on Reconnect with Rockers one of like my favorite vocalists, Sharon Den Adel from Within Temptation. It is great to see your beautiful face. Thank you so much for being with me from lands far, far away.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for having me. All down here all the way from the Netherlands, we say hi.
I love it. That's the beauty of the Zoom. You know, the one thing that we've learned is, you know, with the Zoom, we can still talk to friends super far away. So first of all, I've been a fan for like 20 years, although it's hard to believe that the band is going to be going on 25, which is crazy. But I wanted to start by saying I've always felt that the band doesn't get the credit that you deserve in two aspects. And I'll give you both. For sort of ushering in this sound that a lot of bands sort of followed suit with in the late 90s and early 2000s, and also for the diversity of the band. You know, I feel that you sort of get lumped into this kind of little box, as a lot of artists do. And I think that Within Temptation is such a diverse band, whether you guys are doing cover tunes or stripped down tunes or you can hold your own with the metal crowd or with an orchestra. So talk to me a little bit about that and let me know if you have felt that over the years.
Well, you know, the thing is with diversity of the band, I think mostly it's that we always want to reinvent ourselves more or less because we get fed up with a certain sound or, oh, we have done that. Now we want to evolve to something a little bit different again to keep it challenging for us, for ourselves, especially like you said, with almost going to 25 years that we are doing this as a band. And so you need to find new inspiration sources and things to inspire you to make to challenge yourself again, also to find new things that will inspire you to make another song or that you are still eager to make music in general.
Yeah, there's so many layers, you know, to Within Temptation, and especially the visual aspect. You know, the songs are little movies. I travel through the journey of all of these songs. Talk to me about when you were growing up. Who was the first visual band that you heard and saw and realized that the two, you know, making music and being visual really mixed well and that inspired you?
Well, I must say that's a combination of different people in the band. How that came together. For me, it was more like I'm always the emotion element in the band, meaning like I love to. The people that inspired me personally were more people like who gave themselves on stage, like Janis Joplin, Tori Amos, who in a very different way again, and also Kurt Cobain. You know, all these. Vocalists, very diverse, but very common in one thing, that they were very passionate in expressing their emotion and being very open and vulnerable on stage. That's something that inspired me. But I must say, I have to give the credit to the visual part of how the stage looks, you know, and is more, you know, the big stage live setup. That's more Robert's department because he loved, you know, Iron Maiden and Marilyn and all these, you know, storytelling kind of bands, epic bands. And they inspired us eventually for making the stage setup look the way it does, the live shows that we do, that we want to bring out not just music, but also a visual element to it. And with videos, it's something that we both like. It's like we love telling stories. And of course, a video is a story on its own. Of course, the song itself tells a story, but the video is a version of that. But there can be many versions of how you explain a certain song, of course.
Yeah. And I mean, and you're the perfect video star, you know, because you have so much emotion when you sing and so many, you talked about people who sort of left their blood on the stage. And I love that you mentioned Marilyn. Oh my God, I love that band growing up. Oh, Marilyn. That's awesome. And you mentioned Robert. So let's talk a little bit about Robert. You know, you guys are musical partners in life too.
Yeah. Exactly.
How did you two meet? What was the first meeting of Sharon and Robert like? And did you say, wow, this person is going to have the biggest impact on my life? Or not so much, maybe.
Well, the first time I ran into him literally was that he ran me over with his bike and he didn't say sorry. And I was really pissed off and I saw him.
I love that.
So, and I saw him in school, and there was this guy in school. I formed a school band because I just wanted to perform with people in my school, and I wanted to meet people who are into music as well. So, and I did a fashion school, but there were different how do you say it's educations there. There was like yeah, well, doesn't matter. But there was one that I was attending to that was fashion, and I wanted to meet some guys also, and to also to meet to be in a band with guys, because it's they had more my kind of taste of music, a little bit heavier than all the girls that I was in college with. So anyway, I started the school band, and one of the guys that was in the school band said, but he is Robert, and he's he makes this kind of music, and he even has a record deal, blah blah. And I was like, oh, that's the asshole that ran me over this morning. So that was my first encounter.
Right.
He didn't say sorry. So, and then there was we had a show in school, and he came during Christmas, and we had a performance, and we had all these school buses coming from different schools coming to see our school band, because word got out. It was a school band. We did really put a lot of effort into it, and so people came to see us from other schools to see our school band, and that was really cool. And he was sitting there in the middle of the crowd, and I can't remember sitting him there, but I made apparently a impression on him, and he wanted to get to know me because he liked my voice a lot, and he thought, that's an interesting girl, apparently. So everywhere I was, he turned up. I had also like a party committee. I had some other committees.
Wow.
I started up, and he was everywhere he was. So eventually we got.
I love that.
Yeah,
love that.
We got involved eventually, and he got kicked out of the band he was in that time, called The Circle. He set that up with the keyboard player that we have now in the band again, Martijn Spierenburg. He and Robert started The Circle, which was actually the starting point for Forward Invitation. Also, it was like a pre-band Forward Invitation. So that is a long time ago. They were 17 when they started. It was like early 90s. It was like
well, the guy in school that liked Marilyn was always a little cooler than the guy that liked Wham. So I could see why you would sort
exactly.
of be
That's what I mean. And, yeah, exactly. So, and he was really a Marilyn fan. He had flags on his wall. When I came to his house, he had like all these the album covers on flags in his room, and he was like fantasizing about the music. And
he wanted to be Fish for Marilyn. Love that.
Exactly.
Love that.
Yeah. So those kind of things have really helped me liking him, of course. So, well, anyway, we started. He got kicked out of the other band, and we started again with Invitation. First, it was called The Portal. And, it took a long time for us to get stuff again together again, because when he left the band, he had to buy other stuff as well, like keyboards. He didn't play keyboard, but he played guitar, of course, and he sang the growl voices, and he wrote music mostly on guitar. But then he started also with other recording equipment. We had to start over from scratch again. So that took us a while, and then eventually, when the first album came out, was 1997.
Wow! Wow!
Yeah. So, but then was a starting point for Invitation, and just made demos and became Demo of the Month, the biggest metal magazine from here in Belgium, the Netherlands and Belgium, which isn't a very big country, of course, compared to your overseas beautiful country, States, America. So, but it's for us, it was like huge. We had we're Demo of the Month, and he signed us also because he had a record company, and we had several opportunities to sign to, also with a record company in England. But we thought, this is a Dutch guy. He works for a metal magazine. It's easy, to get our music out there to the people that we want to reach, because we're in metal, of course. And so it was for us a very easy choice to choose for him, and he did a great job. But he was not a real professional. That he did a lot of bands. He had just a few bands, and he was just trying to learn while doing things. So a lot of things went wrong also in the beginning. But we learned from all of that. So most of the time we were doing a lot of things ourselves, making our own
I love
videos.
that organic birth of a band.
Yeah,
exactly. And you guys, great musical partners, and there's something to be said about really trusting and feeling that trust with a musical partner that you're working with. You talked about being in a smaller, we were in a smaller country, but I think it's almost doubly as hard to be in a smaller country,
Well, it was in a certain degree, because the fact that in metal we didn't have much examples from people who, of course, there were a lot of cool metal bands here in the Netherlands. So Corefest, I don't know if you ever heard of them, but
Yeah, right.
they
Oh
were
yeah.
very
Oh
big
yeah.
here in Europe. But still, there weren't many bands that got success outside of the Netherlands. So we immediately also figured, like, okay, if we don't need to focus on the Netherlands and Belgium only, because you have just a few clubs that are interested. It is a very, not a lot of people are into metal, so we understood that. But if you want to do something special, then you have to look further than the Netherlands and look a little bit further than the horizon, and try things. And that's also why we eventually hooked up with a record company outside of the Netherlands, because it would broaden our opportunities to reach more of our fan base, hopefully, people that might like our music. And otherwise it would always be small, and eventually we would have to stop making our music, because it would not be there would never be the opportunity ever to reach further than just where we came from. And eventually we got with the record company we signed up was Gun Records in Germany. And they gave us the opportunity to tour with one of our favorite bands that inspired us also to write music, which is Paradise Lost. And so we were like, oh my God, like children in a candy store. And again, we had to learn a lot during that tour also, because we were very young still, also because we didn't have much experience. And so when we went on tour with Paradise Lost, for instance, we had this huge stage decor. It was made of wood. And every morning we were like walking like this into the
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Took us hours to build the stage up and take it down again. And then, of course, the main act came. Paradise Lost, they had just a banner. They hung it up like this, and they were looking at us and thinking we were crazy, and we were crazy. They were laughing their asses off because of us.
That's great.
You kiddies, you don't know, And they were right, but still, it looked amazing, the stage. But it was a lot of work every time. But we still had to find ways to make it smarter and faster, and we did eventually. But it was a long, we had time also, because everything went so gradually. We had time to learn and to make mistakes and stand up again and try it again. And
I want to talk too about the fan base, because you mentioned growing the fan base. The fan base is so loyal. The Within Temptation fan base is so loyal. I was leaving the studio today, to come home to this studio to be able to chat with you. And I said, I have to leave. I'm talking to Sharon from Within Temptation. I had first of all, I had 3 guys that were like, you're not doing it here. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it here. You're not going to be able to pop your head in and say hi. But, I noticed that, and I posted yesterday the video of the Purge on my social media. And I said, I'm really excited to finally get the opportunity to chat with Sharon. And people were hitting me up saying, oh my God, The Unforgiving was my record. And the fan base feels such a connection to you. So talk to me about your connection to them, and why do you think that, because you can still be a great live band and people love to see you live, but I think when people feel that there's that real one-on-one connection, that everything that you do means something to them. That's a very special gift for a band.
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, what I think is the biggest compliment for us as a band is to see that there's so many different ages in our following, in our fan base, because it's really starts from very young, from early teens to 75. I even had in America, we had an older gentleman, I think he was around 81 or something. He took his sons and he went. We were playing, oh my God, let me remember this. Oh, I can't remember the place where it was exactly, but I'll get back to that. But it was a place in America, and he came with his sons, and it was so special because a few years later, I saw him again in front row. I was like, oh my God, you're here again. And I remembered his face, and that was so special because with that age you don't know if you're going to see them again after 4 years, and he's told me also, yes, I'm going to see after this, I'm going to Nightwish, I'm going to see all the bands that I like. And I thought, oh my God, 80 and you're still doing this,
I love
amazing.
What an inspiration he is.
Yeah, exactly.
To see that face again out there in the crowd. Yeah, I mean, there's that amazing connection, and there's that connection for you with a lot of young women. You know,
Yeah,
it's
also.
so
Yeah.
important for women to know that, and I think we're at a great time for ladies in music. I really do.
I totally agree.
You know, with you and Lizzie and Taylor and Amy and, you know, all the women from the past that we grew up loving, you know, Lita Ford and Chrissy Hynde. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just such
totally. Yeah. So
fabulous
many.
time.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And you actually sang with now that I'm thinking of it, with Amy and Lizzie, and you were on Use My Voice with
Yeah,
Evanescence, correct?
absolutely.
Which was such a great tune this year. And how did that come about? Where all you girls kind of got together and decided
Oh,
to just pound it out, man?
I wish I would have loved to have been there on the spot, but unfortunately we're on the other side of the pond. So no, we all send in our recordings, of course, but it was Amy's idea to have this girl gang and gang up together and, you know, like use your voice literally for this good message that you wanted to bring across, of course. And I think she did a great job with that song. I love that song.
Yeah.
So and also especially the meaning, it just everything fits for that song. So I was really honored to be asked for that. So it was really cool. But it was, unfortunately, I wasn't there.
Yeah, and you know, at a time where everybody couldn't be together, you know, people
Also,
are figuring out ways to send,
be creative,
you know, their parts in, and people are jamming together and doing these virtual events. It's amazing how far we've come in 1 year. I think we've advanced technology 10 years.
That's what where normally everybody says, no, it's not possible. It's possible.
It's possible. It is possible. So talk to me about the new tune. Talk to me about making new music and you guys releasing new music. A lot of bands are doing it single by single or two singles coming out. I think now the Purge was up to, last I looked at, you had a couple of million, 2 million or something video views.
That's true. Yeah.
And I think that it is one of your best songs ever. It is just fantastic. So talk to me a little bit about that song.
Well, the song is more about dealing with things that you're always carrying with you through life, that is still like a burden to you, like it's making it's the heavy burden on your shoulder, you know. It's like the things you never dealt with that you need to deal with at a certain point in your life, and it will set you free and make you next steps in life a little bit lighter and more easy. So it's more about facing your demons and tackling that and going on with life in a more positive way. So it's a very positive song, actually, and fits really this time, I guess. But it's also maybe the age that we're in. It's a lot of things that it has to do with, and I think it's a song of this time that really fits, because I think a lot of people can relate to it, because we're all at home, we're all looking at the hectic life that we've been leading and looking at it like, okay, what have I been doing all these years? You know, is this really what I want to do? What's the next step in life that I want to do? Have I been doing everything accordingly as I hoped? You know, you're looking back and forth at the same time, because the whole world is at the stop all together. Everyone's at one place. We're in a peace place, meaning like we're in a stop, you know? So you have time to reflect and act for a better forward way, in a way. And you can look at this song in many different ways, personally, politically, you know, so many levels.
I love what you just said too, because you said, you know, we're in this weird place where we're constantly looking back and looking forward, you know, and it's just, it's an overload of both things. So I think you nailed it, because we are looking back and we are looking forward and sort of trying to figure out which direction we want to go in, you know.
Yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah,
it's very, very challenging. And talk to me too about you know, releasing music during these different times. You know, it's been kind of non-traditional, you know, for our artists to be able to have to make choices. Some people are like, oh, you know, I really feel comfortable putting out a full record. We're going to wait until we have that. And then I've talked to a lot of artists who are like, nah, man, as inspiration hits, we're going to do tunes. We may have a month where we do 2 songs. We may do 1 song and then wait. So how has it worked for you, Sharon?
Well, first of all, we were supposed to be on tour with Evanescence through Europe, and we were all looking forward to it. Everything was set to go. And then, of course, like 2 weeks before we were starting rehearsal, everything was put on a hold. And everything is history from that point. But we already decided that we wanted to have some new songs to play live, because we had just released the Resist album in 2019. So we did a full tour already through Europe, most of them, some of them same venues, some different venues, but we felt like, okay, if we're going to do more or less the same countries even, we need to bring something new to the table for our fans. Otherwise they're going to see that you don't bring anything extra. Of course, there's Evanescence and us together. That's going to be already very special, of course, but you want to have also new tunes also for yourself. And we did. So we wrote some new songs, and we started up with releasing Entertain You. And just out of the blue, like, okay, because we're not going on tour right now. It's canceled, not canceled, but it's postponed. And we want to release something for the fans, but also for ourselves to look forward to get through this time of silence, actually. And that's something we're still doing. But the Purge was written actually in Corona time. And we went to Sweden in the summer when we were allowed to travel still to record everything. And so that's how we do it. Sometimes at the moment we're just trying to write demos and ideas, and as soon as there's a good idea, we're gonna complete it. And that's how we tackle every song that we have at the moment. So yeah, I'm just trying to find that magic song in there. So, but yeah.
Oh, I think The Purge is that magic song. I can't stop listening to it. It's incredible. And you know what I'm noticing too? So I see Bruce Springsteen over your shoulder there.
Oh my God, you can see that?
Well, you know what? Because I'm in New Jersey. Like, I'm from Jersey. So Jersey can see Jersey. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait a minute. Is that Bruce looking back at me? Is that the cover of The River? So I love that.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, it's the first gig I ever went to with my dad, who introduced me to music. It was to Bruce Springsteen in one of the biggest venues here in the Netherlands, in Rotterdam. And so it's very, for me, he is for me one of the most cherished artists that I have of my memories of my childhood, together with the Eagles. And so, but yeah, that's why he's there.
Can I tell you something? See, I knew that we would bond like sisters, because that was the first show I ever went to with my dad.
No, really? Oh my God.
So, so amazing. And I've been looking at you and talking, and then all of a sudden for some reason I saw Brucey Bruce, the River album, looking back at me, and I was like, Bruce, hi.
The River, hi.
So Jersey can pick that up with New Jersey, for sure. So that's awesome. Sharon, it has been so awesome to connect with you too. Thank you so much for joining me. I cannot wait till we have you back on the road and I get to come out and see Within Temptation, because I love seeing the live shows. It's everything I love about a live show.
Yeah, I can imagine. Everybody would want to, for me as well. I knew I was going to miss it, but I didn't expect to miss it that much. And also watching other bands, I can't wait to see other bands perform again. And like you, it's that magic that we miss a little bit, the interaction, that massive interaction.
Yeah. One of the great underrated bands in rock and roll. You are not metalcore, you're not goth metal, you're just a great rock band, and there's so many different elements to Within Temptation. And for those of you who maybe are not that familiar with the band, I always tell people in quarantine too, the great thing is we can always discover artists that we didn't discover before.
Well, I did discover a lot of new bands actually, but bands that apparently were there for a long time already, but I was underneath a rock and too busy with my own music apparently. So I didn't, bands that are actually maybe also pretty big in America, but it's like, it's strange that you sometimes that you just don't get to see all what's out there, but it's because you're also sometimes as a band too focused on your own stuff. So
yeah. And thank you so much for being with me today, and best of luck with all of the new music that you are releasing. For those of you who have not checked out The Purge yet, you have to. It is it's everything we love about Within Temptation, and can't wait to see you in person. Give you a big Jersey hug in my big Jersey hug in my Springsteen shirt. Sharon Den Adel, thank you so much from Within Temptation. It has been a pleasure chatting with you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yay! Thank you so much. It was such a great chat.
Yeah, likewise. Very energetic and positive. I love it.
Yeah, you know what? I love to have people in their own elements, and I want to talk about things that I think maybe somebody doesn't know.
Well, we did talk about the
artist.
beginning, and also about the beginning of the band. A lot of people don't know when we started even, or how long our journey has been. People think we've just come around the corner sometimes because
absolutely. It's so funny because somebody said to me today, like, "Oh, you're so lucky. You get to talk to so many of these newer artists," and I think that's great for you. Actually,
yeah, I think it's a compliment also. Yeah,
there's no question about it because and especially for us gals. Listen, as life goes on, men never have a shelf life, but for us, we have like this fucking shelf life where we're like, hey, hold on,
yeah,
so
exactly.
it's so great, when people think that you guys are a new band. I think that's and underrated is always good because people love an underdog. You never want to be the overrated band. You never want to be
no, that's true.
So and I'm doing this with Taylor Momsen tomorrow, so it's cool. So nice how I have a week of the gals, which I never get enough.
Nice.
Never get enough of in rock and roll. So your piece will air with us next week. So I'll make sure that you guys get the link and everything for your social media.
Yeah, we'll post as well. So
thank you so much. But it's been such a pleasure chatting with you. Please stay safe. All the best, and I can't wait to see you in person.
Me too. Likewise. Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharon. Later.
Bye.
Bye. DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Karis Lock Company, your full-service locksmith.